Did. Oh, baby.
I'm scared.
Huh?
I'm scared to bowl right on time.
Because you're slipping?
I'm bowling timid.
Yes, you are. That's all right. It's all right. Just the first frame. First frame. You bet. What size is that? What size is that?
14.
Okay. Ooh.
Why are you recording me bowl? No one records you bowl.
We did. So,
Turn.
next question. I saw another clip that said we are training AI we are programming AI by what we pay attention to. And you know how AI works. Once you click on one thing, they start sending you, the algorithm starts sending you things that follow in the same line of whatever you've clicked on, especially anything you've liked. What world are we creating by telling them what we will pay attention to? And including, I done seen AI videos now. I done seen Michael Jackson get up out the grave, moonwalk across. I mean, they right. Can, and it's his face, his voice, his everything. They got Glenn does music using some AI help, right? They will now take the song that he created on AI and make a whole music video of that AI song. So what are we programming AI to now take over from us, and then two, by what we've clicked on, told them that we like or will accept, because now we're telling them what things we will approve of, what things we will accept. So then when they come to you with it used to be they come with some outlandish stuff, we say, oh, BS, and you move on from it. Now they're gonna tell you something, and they got a video to go with it. So now you got I go back to Malcolm, because Malcolm said, the media, and he was talking about just the newspaper, but he said the media will have you feeling sorry for the oppressor and mad at the oppressed. The media will have somebody who was the victim of a situation. And by the time they get through with the AI videos and all that other stuff, you like, maybe he didn't do it. Maybe they did. Maybe he deserved to get it. So what are we training?
Scary stuff. And so one thing I want to point out is that what you kind of brought up is that this is also the Achilles heel of AI.
Right.
Because they're using copyrighted material for someone's image or anything like that, they're liable for suits. There are suits winding their way through the courts, and if that keeps up bills, eventually they're going to have nothing, to hook us with, or nothing to train them on. Because if you sit there and you put, like, I took a class about 12 years ago, so this is no surprise to me, but I remember in the class, they brought up, they said, the guy, he had a website, and he just typed in, make me a song that sounds like the Eagles. And within 3 or 4 minutes, there was a song, and it sounded just like the Eagles.
Yeah.
But it was trained using all the musical notes, the copyrighted, and so if I were the Eagles, and the Eagles are known for being litigious, I'd be silly.
So what ends up happening is these record labels and publishing houses, they've signed these deals with those generative AI platforms that you use. They sign deals with them to just say, here's the catalog of every artist you have, and what you might have is the Eagles don't control all of their music.
The home stuff.
And so their record label is like, hey, because that's what's happening now.
But that happens with any artist. Anyway, if you don't own, one thing Prince always fought for was, if you don't own your publishing, if you don't own your masters, then whoever owns those masters you. So somebody can come in, he can come in and I wouldn't say it's you, but you come in and can't sing worth or putting at it, but you convince the label to let you sing my song. You don't have to get my permission to sing my song. The label gave you because they own my song. So then you'll go out and sing my song and be making millions off of my song. And I'm not, if I'm making anything, I ain't making what they're making off of letting you sing my song.
Right.
You know, those deals are in there. And so you may own, say you own, it's you.
What you mean that's me?
It's your turn up.
There is no turn. Look what it says.
Oh,
Ran out of time.
okay. I think he went, that's maybe that's where he went. Those deals were set up. Oh, okay. Those deals were set up so that, you know, you lose you don't have the time. I mean, you don't have the authority over your own music, your own creation. But that's just with the music. Think about what else they're using that software for. You know, I was talking to my niece about this. You know, when there was a trend where you would turn your avatar into a cartoon, what you did was you gave your face to the software. And then they, in turn, sold your face, your image, to the facial recognition software. They sold it to all of the agencies. So they now, all these places have your face to use however they chose to use it.
It's legal.
And it's legal. So I was like, you gotta watch about following trends, because following trends will lead you into one of them rabbit holes.
Yeah, I don't participate in social media at all. I got off of it during the pandemic. I'm so glad, and you know, we're trying to.
It sounded like a strike.
Sure did.
I mean, it hit them 8 pans hard. But yeah.
We're trying to, you know, the youngest to where he's not on it either. But he can't stop. He has a phone. You know, he can get on there and watch reels.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I want to say, man, going back to the conversation we were just having about AI and everything, you know, the crazy part is when we go through and we sign these agreements to use certain pieces of software, the average person is not going through reading these service level agreements, right? So you have no idea what you're signing and what you're agreeing to. And in most cases, when you go sign up for these apps or these platforms like Facebook and TikTok and whatnot, you are already telling them that they have the right to use your image any way that they want to. Right? So, and then you try to come back and sue them and you find that out in court.
Right.
And it's like, well, no, you've already signed this. You've written away your rights already. We talk about AI and the replacing and what it's going to do to us. We are creating our own replacements. So,
You said we what?
we're creating our own replacements right now with the advent of AI, right? When we think about the movies like Star Trek or the TV shows like Star Trek, right? You know, well, we would love to get to that utopian society where it's all about the betterment of mankind. But back to Terrence's point, we deal with people.
Right.
And you're going to have a varying degree of types of people. And we are literally the sum of our experiences, all of us. And all of us haven't had good experiences, right? And those are definitely some of the people that in our society that may not do things the way that they should, right? Because when you're in a survival mindset, thrive is
And that's the survival, the whole survival part. So there are things that you do that are all survival techniques, but then they become your operational your modus operandi. It becomes the way you move. And they're only meant to be survival stuff, right? But they become policy. They become how you do everything. You know, part of the civil rights movement was a survival tactic, right? And then we got stuck. We got stuck in that mode.
It'd be that hop at the end.
we got stuck in that survival mode. And then that's what you're talking next generation wasn't, you know, we're doing this for a minute. We're supposed to be doing this. You taught them the survival mode that you learned. And so then you got whole groups that's just for survival mode on top of survival mode on top of survival mode on top of survival mode. Ain't nobody got to thrive because the people who knew that was just a strategy, if they told the group didn't grab it. So they thought, oh, this is what we're supposed to be doing. So they stayed stuck in that survival mode, you know? They stayed saying, well, this guy with the attitude can make better choices for us when he goes before them people. We keep letting him represent it. The sad part, oftentimes we let him go represent it, hoping he knows what's important to us. Because we didn't learn keep him accountable. We didn't learn go back and hey, how'd the vote go on that thing that we talked about? And we talked about it. Let alone know to come back and how to vote.
Or have a different way of making decisions instead of that.
That too. Because we got stuck with the so I go back to, are we teaching the same lessons that keep us in the same stuck place? We keep teaching the same lesson because we didn't learn the other lessons. We didn't learn the prosperity stuff. You know? And so we will keep perpetrating those same things.
At what point do you begin to acknowledge the shortfalls that we have and start to try to fill the gap, right? If you know that you don't know this information, at what point do you go out and try to get it? You can't just wait for everybody to show up.
So the most crucial part of that, there are people that, you know, when you're sick, you may just know that you're sick. You may not know what you got. You may not know what's wrong. You may not know even our sickness is even to the point you may not know that your sick is even physical. Your sickness might just be a will. When you're sick, you may recognize that you're sick, but you have no idea what you're sick with. You have no idea with whether it's a physical sickness, mental sickness. You have no idea, let alone where to go get treatment. Let alone who to trust in the treatment. You got to start somewhere. I can say. So I found out. How many of y'all have heard of Aetna? Aetna Health Insurance, right? You know who owns Aetna? CVS. You know what CVS also has? Have you heard of Oak Street Medical? CVS owns Oak Street Medical. You know where you can find most Oak Street Medicals attached to? A CVS. You know what CVS also owns? A pharmaceutical company, not just the selling of pharmaceuticals, but actually make the drugs too. So, you get Aetna because they tell you we can give you a good deal. You get that good insurance deal, okay, and then they say, well, you know, the people that are under our coverage are doctors that are with Oak Street Medical. So here's a doctor that's in our network. Go to that doctor. That doctor is going to give you the script from CVS. And you know what? The best place to get this deal is that. So then CVS controls your entire medical, from treatment from diagnosis to treatment. They control all of that. And because the insurance company ain't getting paid when you get sick, they can keep you there too, right? Because you know that they're like, well, I had my eye stuff done, right? After I paid $700 on my visit, then I can pay the $40 special fee. So my insurance tells me if you go to a specialist, it's $40. If you go to your general doctor, it's $20. But you got a $700 deduction. And that's just to see the doctor. Because that's this price. So then I go there with $40 and the bill is $375. Because to see the doctor is $137, and for the shot, it's $2.
Tony, I got your water ready, Tony.
And the insurance decided already. But the doctor said, hey, you got this condition going on with your eye, you need to see this. The doctor ain't in that other part of the network. Well, they are. Because I saw a doctor in the network. I'm not really, but you still see how all that works.
Yeah.
But that's true of most people. You know, they usually have their full circle concept about what they provide, manufacturers that they get it from. Generally, most organizations own their whole full life cycle. In most cases.
Yeah. I mean, he's just describing the symptoms of capitalism.
Right.
That's
That's all it is.
how we decide
Right.
to produce what it is we need to have a thriving life that everybody can live and survive. And we can either make people happy, let another group of people decide on what is and how it's going to be produced and what price it's going to be produced at. Okay, you need places need water. Somebody say, you know what though? I got this data center. It needs water too. And I know you need water for that wheat farm you got over there, or you need water for your vegetable garden over there. Whatever you can think of better for water, right? And you're like, I really should produce this AI, this data center. Because people come and create songs and flyers and have things you want to create decisions or pray with you or marry you. You know what I'm saying? And I got to sell it at a subscription. Right. Because that's what's a better use for the water. Right. Exactly. For the water. Right. Like,
And it's crazy that people that are making those decisions for us right here, right? And the people that are most affected by it are right here.
back to it, it's a dictatorship of capital. They only democratically decide on what they will do, and we get choosing people who will disrupt us, and they will not disrupt us. Because they are incentivized not to disrupt us. They are incentivized to play within the confines of these rules. So then, if you do that, you can live a life that is pretty good.
So then the question goes to, so then what is the next thing for us to do?
I think first it's like the Matrix. It's like the job of a revolutionary is to heighten the contradictions.
So we gotta wake up first.
People gotta see it. You gotta be able to show it to them. You gotta be able to convince them. But we know we have to be very aware. We are up against a highly organized cabal that controls all the media we watch, all the ways we entertain ourselves. So how do you do it? It starts with real life, human conversations, as opposed to speaking through the filters of their shit.
So, you bring up something that I thought about for a long time. Because, as I said before, when I used to travel around the country, I would go to these places. Basically, they would set up, manufacturing sites in cities of about 100,000. So, and you have a chief, and they're the only game in town. They buy all the land around it so they can expand if they need to. And so you see the people that come in there. But when I go there, you see people that probably voted for what we have now. urban areas are blue, and the suburbs are blue. You go out in the middle of nowhere, and it's red out there for a reason. They really don't know. I mean, I hate to sound cynical. They really don't know. They probably have never met somebody, a person of color. They've never really seen them, but they've never really sat down and talked to them. And now we have these discussions. I mean, we come to consensus. And now we're look, it would be hard for me to sit there and have these discussions as well. I cannot imagine asking everybody to sit there and say, hey, why don't we talk about what we have in common? I know it's common, but what we do have in common is we're all getting screwed.
Right.
Big time.
Right.
And I'll tell you, there was a place I went to in Alaska, Tennessee, and I went to Walgreens to get something. And you should have seen this Walgreens. It was completely, every single spot in the front was a candy cane thing. There were giant potholes in the property. Everybody that came out of there was
I should have got that on tape.
I had to tell myself to stand on the other side.
I should have got that on tape.
tired.
Yeah.
That's what they do. That's how I feel. I'm feeling tired. I'm tired. I feel like I've changed my mind.
Yeah.
And I sit there and say to myself, I said, when it comes to income and background and everything like that, I'm truly blessed. But when I'm struggling, people that, in the bottom half, how are they surviving economically? How are they surviving? How do they do that? I didn't grow up rich, but I know a little bit about being definitely lower middle class. Yeah. I know a little bit about that, but I look at it today and I'm just like, there are people that really just jump through the roof because and now we got, I don't want to sit there. They talk about chickens and fried
Hell, gas.
gas.
Everything.
They know.
Yeah.
You got a person running the country. Do things that they would shut down the street on notice.
Yeah. Of course he did. And we just only get to choose between these little differences. It's like, okay, you can get the fascist who's instigating all types of division, who's then gonna try to attack Iran and focus on China. Or you could have got the neoliberal who was gonna focus on China, Russia, focus on Russia, and keep the pressure on Iran or Cuba or Venezuela, and find another way to maybe like. Gas, you remember when the gas prices spiked when Biden?
Oh man,
when he started funding,
be way over there.
Iran,
Be way over there.
It doesn't matter. We didn't see inflation spike under two different parties. In the end,
That's what I said.
decisions they are making that have nothing to do with the people out in them cornfields, the people living in them cities. Like, what does fighting Ukraine have to do with anything? And what the hell was the thing with Iran?
Right. Especially when the options are still Satan or the devil. I mean, this,
Right. Which name you want to call it?
right. Red and blue, Satan, the devil, what? I mean, it's all the same thing, dude. We again, a two-party system is not going to lead us to the promised land.
Let it go, brother.
It's not going to lead us to the promised land.
Let it go. You know,
No, nowhere.
I don't think
Right.
you say that the only politicians that have
Do that the first time, nigga. Do that the first
Who?
AOT.
Okay.
So,
But again, you got to affect so much change
before I go up there, Bo,
going up.
one thing he talked about is we got to have these conversations. Part of what we had to have these conversations was as we first started to find Brother Ben Deli over Pan African Connection used to say community was a group of people who have a common unity, right? You got to have these conversations to find out if we have a common unity.
Of course we do.
You know what I mean? Well,
Of course we
do
do.
we?
Yes.
Because some skin folks ain't kin folks.
I hear
Right.
that.
This
I
my
hear that.
brother more so than somebody that's got the same complexion and melanin as I got.
But the conversations.
But the conversation is so I get
they're gonna bring that
that's
out.
what
Right.
I'm saying. So I gotta have a conversation to find out if this person is somebody I got common unity with. And then we start to build. The sad thing is that even if we build our collective is only gonna go around us. You know what I mean? It's not going to be able to function where we are. So then you have to ask yourself, how much am I going to abdicate myself out? You know? Let me roll.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep, that's the crazy part. But again, you know, when you think about commonalities, there are always those common things that we all have in common, right? We all want to be able to send our kids to a good school. We all want to have quality food, quality water. That's not going to change. Those are the commonalities. Those are the commonalities that I was speaking of, right?
Yeah.
And when we can identify the fact that hey, these are all the same things. These are all the same things. Now, what changes is the fact that you have a group of people that want to be able to control it. And therein is where the problem comes in, right?
Right.
And again, we go back to your point again. People gonna be people, right? They gonna be people.
But even here's the even crazier part. In one point in history, or even now, who I treat a certain kind of way depends on who I determine is my people, right? What I do with you might not be what I do with someone else. But we happen to live in a society that is intentionally trying to limit how we see us as a we. It's like we are in such a concentrated, individualized society that even the we get smaller and smaller and smaller, but this medium barrage they send to us defines a we.
Real broad.
But it ain't that. And it keeps people fighting because it'll say, if they were part of the we, then they would agree with this.
Right.
If they were part of the we, then they would agree with this. They not the we, they not the we. But like we've been talking about, we can't even come together if we go through their filters of how we communicate to each other.
Right.
And just leave the other shit on the floor and talk about the commonalities of what are we all feeling? Are we all frustrated? Are we all tired of chasing these damn rabbits? Aren't we tired of setting the debt clock and saying, oh, I finally paid up everything I need, and then all of a sudden something happens and then holy shit, I gotta charge it, or see if I can ask somebody to loan me $500. Look, you gotta have community to ask somebody for $500, right?
I'll give an example of something that happened recently community type thing.
Okay?
Because he was the vice president of Vatican. What to say? I can't remember.
Tim Waltz.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was purposeful. They went into Minneapolis. The way that everybody, it didn't matter, you know, what color they were or what income they were, they all came together to defend the defenseless. And had a line and stuff like that. It got them to move out. They backed out. It got that guy from and rare now.
You're right.
I mean, that's the kind of thing. Peaceful, just getting their paycheck. Of course, it ended up with people getting killed. Unfortunately. But they didn't die in vain because that's just.
And they didn't, and we gotta, one thing we gotta communicate to people is they didn't cause their death. The enemies of the people was there and willing to hurt people because they were given permission to hurt people.
Right.
Because the power of violence comes from the state. The state is doing, it's just like, they got the right to do that. These people were trying to defend people from violence. You know what I'm saying?
Do we have enough footage?
Oh yeah, I think we got it good.
All right, so we can stop it.